I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is, living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, north of Richmond. I wish politicians would look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is, living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, north of Richmond. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Well, hey, it's August the 7th, 2023, and as of this recording, tomorrow on Tuesday, Radio WV is going to upload the debut of Richmond, North of Richmond, and it's going to be the first song to get out there that's been recorded on a real microphone and a real camera, and not just on my cell phone. And Lord willing, it's going to get some traffic, and maybe at least a few of you are going to drift your way over here. And I thought I'd have kind of an introduction video on what it is I'm aiming to do here. So, I've been playing a long time and singing. I really started to write my own music back in 2021. Things were obviously not good for a lot of people, and in some respects I was one of those people, and I had wasted a lot of nights getting high and getting drunk, and I had sort of gotten to a point in my life where even things that I did care about didn't mean anything to me anymore. And I mean, this is certainly no Dr. Phil episode, but I found an outlet in this music, and I started uploading a couple songs, and Ain't Got a Dollar I uploaded spring of last year, and then Rich Man's Gold, Cobwebs and Cocaine, and the list goes on from there. And there's probably been about a dozen or so originals that I've put out just off my cell phone. And I started getting messages from people saying like how much the music was helping them, and with their struggles in their lives, and that they'd been sitting on the back porch listening to me for the last hour. And it just I don't know, it really gave me a purpose. It made me feel like I wasn't just wasting my time. And so anyway, kind of in the last roller coaster of the last year, I have decided that this is going to be what I do. At all costs, no matter what, I'm going to create. I'm going to write, create, and produce as much original, authentic music as I can, in the hopes that it'll at least help somebody out there that needs it. And I know we're living in dark times, and I know that this is really just the beginning of what's to come. And there's a lot of beautiful people in this world, and I meet a lot of awesome people every day. Even back when I did work in the factory, I sing about selling my soul, and I am a ginger, so I don't know if I have a soul to sell or not. But I met a lot of good people even back then, working third shift, 12 hours, 6 days a week, and now I spend a lot of time on job sites, and I meet people from all across the country. And the universal thing I see is that it's like no matter how hard they push and how much effort they put into whatever it is they're doing, they just can't quite get ahead because the dollar's not worth enough. It's being overtaxed. People are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so yeah, I want to be a voice for those people. And not just them, just humans in general, and some of the struggles and the battles that they go through. And there'll be a lot of positive songs on here too, and there already are some, 90-some Chevy and Between You and Me, and I mean, even Ain't Got a Dollar. Those are going to be fun songs, and there'll be plenty more like that. But I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and hopefully you like what you hear. My email is oliveranthonymusic@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'll speak a few minutes on Richmond, north of Richmond, and then we'll hang this thing up. I don't want to chatter too long to you, but Richmond, north of Richmond, it touches on my time in Western North Carolina, working in the factory. It talks about some people that live north of Richmond, Virginia, who I'm sure you're very aware of, who make life a little more difficult than it should be. It touches base on human trafficking and the atrocities that, I'll say this. I sit pretty dead center down the aisle on politics, and always have. I remember as a kid the conservatives wanting war and me not understanding that, and I remember a lot of the controversies when the left took office, and it seems like both sides serve the same master, and that master is not someone of any good to the people of this country. But I think one of the worst things that a human being can do is take advantage of a child. And I can't begin to conceptualize what has to happen to someone in order for them to think that's okay. And I think I drew the line on being quiet when I started to see that becoming normalized. And I'll leave that at that. In the last part of the song, it touches on suicide rates and really on mental health and depression, and there's no reason why young men or women in this country should be committing suicide. there's obviously a problem. You know, people talk about epidemics in this country and the homelessness and the drug use and the lack of skilled labor and the suicide rates. Those things aren't problems. Those are symptoms of a bigger universal problem. And a lot of people know that. It's just common sense, but we don't talk about it enough. And maybe that is the problem today, is we just don't talk enough common sense anymore. You know, we've kind of went a little off the deep end. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. I hope wherever you are in the world listening to this, and whatever it is that you're trying to do with your life, I hope that you succeed at it. And I hope, if you take anything away from me and the music I write, it's that this life is a beautiful opportunity. And I don't care where you are or what you've done, where you think your life's heading. Everything can change in a moment. As long as you're above the dirt, you've got a fighting chance. And I'll say this and I'll go. I spent a long time being an angry little agnostic punk. And I remember talking about Sky Daddy and Cloud Papa, and I would get so angry about the concept of God because I had sort of perverted what my vision of God was, because I looked at the religion of man as God and not God himself. But there is a divine creator that loves you, and sometimes it takes falling down on your knees and getting ready to call things quits before it becomes obvious that he's there. But he's always there. You just got to look out for him and listen for him. So I'll see you on the next one. And I love you guys and gals, and I'm really appreciative of you listening to my music and giving me a voice. So Lord willing, this is just the beginning. Hope you guys have a good night. Bye.
Just kind of an amazing point that we are at right now. And I think this guy says so much of what everyone's thinking in America. Where does all this go? Where does all my effort go? What are we doing this for? I think a lot of people have felt that they've been sold a lie and are waking up to that fact that a unified voice from people who care and come from a sense of place of love for each other and their community, and really don't understand how things have ended up like they have. You know, there's a lot of power in coming together at a crisis time like this. We're kind of entering this place where I think it's almost like a new renaissance. And it's kind of an interesting, conflicting point where at this time in history, we have AI and the computerized fakeness of everything, which is so inundated in our face constantly. And we're now realizing that a lot of the fakeness we've been seeing over the last couple years was bots. When people find music that's truthful and soulful and real, like real to their experience that they're living right now, real to their friends, and it just comes, like, flows out of the heart, comes from the soul, that music hits hard. It hits harder than everything. It's just, I don't know, there's just something about it. We've really entered this place where the quote small voice, kind of what society elitists consider as small people, that maybe don't look at what we think is the stereotypical, I guess, person or how you expect them to look. They're just normal people like us and our friends. They shit in the same toilets or they shit outside, which is always a wonderful thing that we all have to experience if you're hikers and campers. Like, it's just, there's a realness, I think, that's coming out right now that's been so lost in America for so long, and maybe just really hasn't ever existed for 1,000 years in places like Europe, or I don't know. It's just very interesting that these quote small people are finally realizing how big that they are. And these people, which I can only aspire to be someone like that, where they're truthful, soulful, speak from their heart, believe what their beliefs are, and stand up for them. These are some of the last real people left in society. And they carry a story, they carry a song, they carry with their art, carry with their lineage, they carry in how they express themselves in the world. And in many ways, like many times before, we've seen people, for instance, in history, 1300s, 1400s, 1500s, a lot of people that carried a message in secret, in protest. And back then, you didn't have recordings, so they used the recordings that they had, which was canvas and art, symbolism, sculptures. And that was almost like the counter protest of their time to, basically the big institutions like the Roman Catholic Church. So, this song and this individual is probably the greatest example, I think, of where we are right now and the opportunity in that. We talk a lot about the internet on this podcast, and for the longest time, the foundation of the internet, it's really been used more as a toy. So a toy people using to mess around, to sell people stuff. And it hasn't really ever been used as a tool in a true sense of the term. Almost like before anybody knew what the internet was back in the day. It was just a bunch of us misfits playing backgammon and games online with people all over the world. So if we focus on connecting people, using our digital tools, uniting the anonymous misfits, the people all over the world that really don't have an answer, but feel deeply a lot of the facts, and they can see it with their eyes, What if we focused on leveraging this tool and the utilityness of connection? So Oliver Anthony here, he carries a message and the stories from time go by and the pain from the times we're in. And it's just, amazing to see someone that real become a quote overnight success. But he was always successful, When you're authentic to yourself, when you're authentic to your values, when you care, when you really feel out this heart, what it means, and how you reflect that in the world. It's truly beautiful to watch. And there's a lot of stuff out there that if you want to complain, if you want to find a reason to think that the world's ending, you're going to be able to find it. But you're not going to be able to convince me that despite all of that, this is not the greatest time to be alive. Because I truly think it is. And to sit here and witness art like this and so many others, leaders stand up in ways that a lot of people just never thought was possible. And to think that you're not a leader when you sing a song and write a song that tells a story that's absolutely beautiful. I mean, that's what it's all about. When I was graduating 8th grade, my aunt gave me a gift. And when she gave me this gift and I opened it, I already knew the story, but she told me anyways. She had been watching me obsessively looking over this little piece of metal. And we were in a bookstore up on Lopez Island, up in the village there, back in, it was the 90s, right? So I was holding this paperweight in the bookstore, and I just sat admiring it, and she came back and bought it for me and gave it to me as a graduation present. It's a silver metal paperweight, and I've taken it with me everywhere I've gone my entire life since then. When I moved to Amsterdam, when I lived up in the islands, when I went to college, everywhere it's gone with me. Nothing special about it. It's just metal, a rectangle, but on the top of it, it has inscribed, "What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?" What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? Now if I can ask you anything of our listeners, the people listening to this, to think about that quote and think about this guy, Oliver Anthony. It's just amazing the type of effect you can have on people with a music, with a song, with sharing your voice. So that when people hear that voice, when they think that they're at the end of their rope and they don't know what to do, they know someone else is out there thinking about them. As we redefine who we are over the next 20 or 40 years as Americans, and as Europe continues to be more like America, a unified state with different unique values, traditions, and experiences, it's going to be chaos, and it's going to be the greatest times of our lives. It's going to be interesting to see where we go, what we do, how we treat each other, how we define our values, the fights that we have, the identities we create, and what this new American, European Renaissance looks like. Some things and some people don't look like you expect, and that's because they're real. And realness, being real, being authentic, is what changes this world for the better. Bravo, Oliver Anthony.